The Whispering House. Sarah had always been drawn to abandoned places, fascinated by the stories they left behind. So, when she heard about the old Carter house on the edge of town, she couldn't resist. It was said to be cursed. Over the years, multiple families had lived there, only to vanish without a trace. Neighbors claimed they heard whispers from inside, even when the house was empty. Some said the house wanted to be lived in, and when it found the right person, it kept them. Sarah didn't believe in ghost stories. She was a journalist, always looking for the truth behind the legends. Armed with her notebook and phone, she set out to spend one night in the Carter house. 11:42 p.m., the first whispers. The house was in worse shape than she expected. Dust coated every surface, and the air smelled of mold and decay. The wooden floor groaned under her weight as she explored. She set up her camera in the living room and checked her phone. No service. That was fine, she could record everything and upload it later. Then she heard it, a whisper. It was faint, almost imperceptible, like breath against her ear. She spun around. Hello. Silence. Sarah frowned, but shook it off. Old houses made weird noises. Probably just the wind sneaking through cracks in the walls. She decided to check the upstairs bedrooms. As she climbed the stairs, she felt a strange pressure in her chest, as if the house were watching her. 12:15 a.m., the locked room. The second floor was lined with old portraits, faded, black and white photographs of people long forgotten. Their eyes seemed to follow her as she walked. At the end of the hall was a door, different from the others. It was made of heavy oak and had a large iron handle. She tried to turn it, but it wouldn't budge. Something shifted behind the door. A soft shuffling sound. She stepped back. Maybe it was an animal trapped inside. Or maybe the house was playing tricks on her. She placed her hand against the door. Is someone in there? A whisper came from the other side. Help me. Sarah's breath caught. It was so faint, she could almost convince herself she'd imagined it. She needed to get inside. She searched the upstairs hallway for something to pry the door open. Eventually, she found an old, rusted fireplace poker in a nearby room. She jammed it into the door frame and pushed. The wood creaked. The hinges groaned. Then, with a final snap, the door burst open. 12:30 a.m., the hidden room. Inside was a small, windowless bedroom. A four-poster bed sat in the middle, covered in a tattered, dust-covered blanket. An old wooden dresser stood against the wall, but what caught Sarah's attention was the chair. A single wooden chair faced the bed, and sitting in it was a figure, her breath hitched. It was a woman, or at least, what used to be a woman. Her skin was dry and papery, stretched tight over her skull. Her lips were drawn back in a grotesque grin, exposing yellowed teeth. Empty eye sockets stared straight ahead. Sarah stumbled back, her heartbeat hammering in her ears. The woman was mummified, preserved in the still air of the room, but as Sarah turned to flee, she heard it again, a whisper, and this time, it was coming from everywhere. Stay with me. The voice didn't belong to just one person. It was layered, voices overlapping, men, women, children. Sarah turned toward the door and it slammed shut. She rushed to it, yanking the handle, but it wouldn't move. The whispers grew louder, surrounding her. Then she heard the worst sound of all, the slow creak of the chair behind her. Something was moving. She turned, trembling. The corpse was standing, its empty sockets bore into her. The whispering voices rose into a deafening chorus, and then silence. 7 a.m., the empty house. The Carter house stood quiet. As the sun rose, the door to the hidden room was closed. Sarah's camera lay abandoned in the living room, covered in dust, as if it had been there for years. The town moved on, as it always did. Another name added to the list of those lost to the Whispering House. And in the locked room, a new figure sat in the chair, mummified, waiting for the next visitor.